How does a shark behave before it goes extinct? It keeps swimming, exactly as it always has. Same speed, same direction, same depth. Everything continues within an ordinary rhythm of life. The water is clear. The shark is in place. Everything is where it should be. But there is a change. We are at the beginning of a problem. And this absence is invisible. It is silent, but it is deadly. For now, everything continues to look ordinary. So what happens next? When is a shark no longer considered dangerous? When its teeth fall out? No. When its strength decreases? No, they are always strong. There is only one moment. The moment a shark loses its ability to observe, it stops being dangerous. In that moment, everything changes. But no one knows it. Because the shark is still swimming, still large, still appearing as if it maintains its identity. This is the most dangerous form of collapse. The silent one, the invisible one, the one that cannot be detected from the outside. And many collapses in life arrive this way. While everything looks normal, something inside runs out. Its time expires. Sharks can be considered among the oldest predators of the oceans. To briefly go into their history, we are talking about a species that has existed for 450 million years, even older than the dinosaurs, older than the Great Ice Age, almost before everything. How does a creature that has survived this long and sustained its species through strength remain so powerful? There are several reasons. For example, sharks do not just swim. Sharks constantly read. They read many things. They read the water. They read pressure. They read electric fields. They read the vibrations of everything that passes by them. They establish serious dominance, because by mastering every detail, they gain the opportunity to possess everything. And one day something changes. Life does not always move in a positive direction. A time comes, and this reading stops. What remains is just an ordinary large fish swimming. Nothing more. What happens in this situation? People do not care about your past. They do not tolerate you just because you used to be good. This applies to animals as well. Let me give an example. How does a person lose their job? Suddenly? No. This rarely happens. In most cases, the situation develops like this. First, they stop reading the signals around them. This affects the atmosphere in meetings. The boss's attitude toward them begins to worsen as a result. But they do not notice it, because they are no longer reading. If you do not observe, you cannot notice. This continues for weeks. Then one day the door is knocked on. That day they are surprised. There were no signs, they say. But the signs were everywhere. They simply could no longer observe them. Everyone was aware, except them. The shark's story is exactly this. And this story is not only the story of the shark. It is the story of all living beings. There are many features that differentiate sharks from other creatures. One of the most important is this: the lateral line system. This system, located along both sides of a shark's body, is so perfect that it can detect even the smallest change in water pressure. If a fish swims 50 meters away, the shark feels it clearly. Is it trying to escape? Is it swimming around? Is it tired, weak? It senses all of this in detail. It analyzes. It decides. Additionally, sharks possess electrical receptors called the ampulla of Lorenzini. These small pores around their snouts detect electrical signals emitted by the muscles of living creatures. They can even find a fish hidden under the sand, because that fish's heart is beating, and that heartbeat produces electricity. The shark reads it. I believe you now understand better the level of power and dominance sharks possess. So what does all of this mean? A shark hunts without seeing. It hunts without hearing. It hunts simply by sensing, reading, analyzing. It is powerful in every sense, not just physically. That is why it hunts in dark water. That is why it hunts in muddy water. Because observation is not done only with the eyes. Observation is the openness of an entire system, and sharks possess one of the best systems among living beings. But what happens if the system shuts down? The shark keeps swimming. The lateral line system no longer works. The electrical receptors are silent. The shark no longer feels the water. It simply moves within it, like a large shadow passing through cold water. It does not understand. It does not read. It just moves forward, and this turns it into a creature with no trace of its former self. This has serious consequences. Over time, these effects surface, slowly, in a deadly way, and now the ocean becomes a completely different place for the shark. It is no longer a place it reads. It is simply a place it exists in. The difference is huge, very huge. Because a shark that does not read is no longer considered a predator. It is just a large animal. A big mass, small fish begin to understand this. The shark approaches. They do not flee, because the threat signal no longer comes. The shark is big, but it is not dangerous. This difference changes everything. The small fish begin to swim around it. The shark looks, but it does not see. The system is closed. They no longer care about it. And one day, as happens in the collapse of other animals, something happens to the shark. Another shark approaches, younger, smaller, physically weaker, but its system is open. It reads everything. It enters the older shark's territory, slowly, step by step. Normally, the old shark would sense this long before. It would detect the change in water pressure, read the swimming pattern, understand the intention, and decide accordingly. Would it wait, warn, drive it away? In the past, it would, but now it can do nothing. The young shark approaches. The old shark does not notice. It comes closer. Still no awareness. It almost reaches its side. The old shark sees only at that moment. But it is too late. It wants to react. But which reaction? When? How? The system cannot calculate. No decision forms. The young shark waits. It expects a reaction. None comes. In that moment, it understands everything. The one before it is big, experienced, but no longer dangerous. It retreats, not because it is afraid, but to wait. It knows time is now on its side. This is entirely the beginning of the end. The confirmation that the old shark has lost every fragment of its former reputation and power. Power is not physical size. Power is having the system open, being able to read, to sense, to analyze, and to make the right decision at the right time. Without these, size is only an image, an impressive but empty image. Unfortunately, a useless trait. Think about it. Two people enter the same room. One is very experienced, has worked in that field for years. The other is newer, knows less. But that day the experienced one is distracted, unfocused, not observing. The younger one is fully present, reading everything. The air in the room, people's glances, the meanings beneath conversations. Who leaves that meeting powerful? The answer is clear, and it is not unfair. This is how life works. Everywhere, your psychological awareness must remain open. When it is closed, you are only a breathing being. But when it is open, situations can become completely different. Life does not stop. It keeps moving forward. The shark is still in the ocean, still swimming, still breathing, but it is as if it has completely retired from hunting. It does not even attempt to hunt, because its system no longer produces a hunting signal. Does it feel hunger? Maybe, but that feeling no longer triggers action. Is there a threat? Possibly, but it is no longer taken seriously. Has it lost its territory? Probably, but it does not care. The days are the same. Morning in the same place. Evening in the same place. Swim, stop. Swim, stop. This is not a routine. Routine has purpose within it. This is just repetition. Empty repetition. And eventually researchers notice everything. The shark has not fed for days. It looks physically healthy, but something is wrong. Why isn't it hunting? They ask. They cannot find an answer, because what happens inside is very difficult to measure. But we now know. Observation stopped. The system shut down. And when the system shut down, everything shut down. Physical strength remained, but power did not. Observation is not just a skill. Observation is where everything both begins and ends. Without observation, there is no correct decision. Without correct decisions, there is no correct timing. Without correct timing, there is no power. And without power, life is merely existing, not living. Life is made entirely of such spirals, and when one diminishes, the others follow. Keeping the system alive is what makes you unbeatable in life, but in the end, everyone is destined to lose one day. The shark is in the ocean, big, appearing strong, but it is not truly there anymore. Its body is there, but its system is not, and this is the quietest ending. No one understands from the outside, but inside, everything has already ended. Do not lose your power of observation. Keep reading the small signals. Feel the water. Detect the pressure. Notice the change. Because the moment you stop reading, you begin merely to exist. And merely existing is not enough. James